Let's have a look at this, because it's an interesting thing happening at the moment. There are calls
That's a big shopping trolley.
Yeah,
Fuck,
not
it's
much in it.
huge.
That's probably $173 worth of food from the supermarket, from what I hear. And that trolley
banana's as big as Simon Dellow's arm.
It's a big banana. Or maybe Simon Dello is very, very little. Could be that as well. Conversations today about finally trying to break this duopoly. We will play each ball on its merits. If this government does something to break the duopoly, I don't think they will. I was about to say unless they get a second term. I don't think they will, because they won't have time to do it. But if they start the process of breaking the duopoly, they'll get credit from me where it's due, as long as it's obviously done correctly and there's not also, a back end where, what that means is we're going to get rid of the duopoly, but all homeless people are going to be stuck into the furnace. So which is a typical policy from these guys. But if they figure out a way to do it and it helps us all, it will be a congratulatory tone. Let's have a look what basically is going on right now. And it seems that they're talking about Costco. It seems that they're talking about Costco coming into the country further on.
The government's unveiled a range of fast-track measures to attract new players into the grocery market. The finance minister describing the reforms as an express lane for new supermarkets to...
Stop using fucking puns. Oh. You watch when she says it. She's so fucking proud of herself.
Boost competition. But the pace of any uptake so far is slow, with global chains not showing much interest. Here's senior political reporter Benedict Collins.
When Costco first opened in West Auckland, people flocked for the deals. And it's still popular today.
Because there's like cheap pie there, so that's why we go there all the time.
The two grocery chains we have right now are they're not doing anything really. Having Costco is fantastic.
I think it's quite healthy because there's been a monopoly with our main supermarkets for far too long, and that's why our prices are too high.
There's someone else who feels...
It's funny how what she just said was completely wrong, but also right, because she said they've had a monopoly for a long time. It's literally not a monopoly because it's a duopoly. It's two. But on some instance, she's right because they seem to travel locked in together the whole time anyway. You know what I mean? So it's funny that she used the wrong word. But even though she used the wrong word, she still kind of used the right word. Go figure.
Far too long, and that's why our prices are too high.
There's someone else who feels the same way about Costco.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Nicola Willis agrees a lack of competition is stinging shoppers.
When potential supermarket competitors look at New Zealand right now, they see far too many regulatory stop signs.
No, that's bullshit, by the way. That's bullshit. What they see is a market.
Absolute nonsense.
What they see is a market too small to inject hundreds of millions of dollars. What they see is a market that won't give them the return they want. If you have to come in here and build, 20, 30, 40, $50 million buildings to then try and get money back on it amongst 5 million people, or if you're in Dunedin amongst 125,000 people versus somewhere in the middle of America where you've got 3 million people working around. That's what it's about. That's why there hasn't been much of an uptake. It's got bullshit to do with regulations. It's got to do with the return on investment. Because if there was the best return on investment in the world, they'd all be here. So that's what it's about. So don't believe the hype. It is not a sequel.
And red lights. Our government is determined to change that view from no to go.
The proposed solution, a fast-track consenting process.
We are creating an express lane for new supermarkets.
How quickly are you hoping new Costco's might be popping up in the country?
Well, that's a question for Costco. What they have made very clear to us is that these changes the government is making will speed that up no end.
I'm not sure why the Minister of Finance is dithering, but Kiwis can't wait because at the moment and tomorrow, it's not going to make food prices cheaper.
Global supermarket giants Lidl and Aldi showed no interest in the government's review that led to today's announcement.
A couple of the big global grocery players didn't take part in this. Were you disappointed by that?
Yes, I was. But what I'm hopeful of is that now we have a really strong welcome mat to present to them.
What the fuck does that mean? A really strong welcome mat. It sounds like some kind of body part that gets shaved. A really strong welcome mat. Like there's a strangeness to that. Surely that there would have been involved. The welcome mat was to get involved with it, and now the research is done. I don't quite know what that sounds like. Luxon's school of business speak, but it doesn't mean anything. Anyway.
I reckon they should give New Zealand another look.
Smaller local players like Dunedin's Night and Day also keen for change.
So it is reliant on new players to really come in and shake it up. I just don't know if it's the lack of sites or the lack of buildings that's causing the issue, or the entrenched nature of the duopoly.
So that's also the thing. And one of the reasons people often come back to the warehouse is the warehouse already has the infrastructure. So they wouldn't need to spend literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on building, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Dunedin, Hamilton, Tauranga, Nelson. They wouldn't need to do that because they're already there. They might need to do a little bit of expanding, but they've already got the footprint. They've already got the car park. They've already got. So that's the infrastructure is a big part of it, and the warehouse has it.
Do you think we need more Costcos then?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see one down here in Dunedin, and I'm sure Christchurch and Wellington would as well. Also, just got to be mindful of the smaller towns in New Zealand.
Saying more changes will be needed if the government's serious about getting shoppers a better deal.
There's a little bit of good commentary. We don't normally take the kind of the stand-up afterwards, but there's some good commentary in this, so we'll take it tonight.
Benedict, tell us more about how this new express lane system will work.
Boo!
Yeah, well, the whole point of these express lanes is to get new operators into the country and get new supermarkets setting up shop to improve competition both nationally and regionally. Now, I did ask the finance...
I wonder if in their express lane there's only going to be 12 companies or fewer.
Hey.
I wonder if they can check out themselves, but they're not allowed to take their trolleys through the. Yeah, sorry.
Minister today whether this express lane was going to be open to the existing duopoly, that's Woolworths and Foodstuffs.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So I don't want to say it, I throw up in the back of my mouth, the fast tracking of it, right? What about the two new guys? The government says, nah, don't think that's really what we're looking for. The duopolies go, hey, great news. So look out for that, people.
Use. And she said, hey, look, it's hard to see how that would improve competition in New Zealand. And she also agreed that it could actually entrench their position here. Now, we got a statement from Woolworths. They said they thought it's a really great move that the minister's moving to remove red tape here. And they said it was also really good that they were going to allow new and existing supermarkets to build more supermarkets fast.
Yeah.
We got a similar statement from Foodstuffs. Yeah. They said that they were really pleased that the minister has listened to the industry about how to get supermarkets being built here more quickly. So the duopoly, it seems, are pretty comfortable with today's announcement. On the other hand, for all the talk about Costco today and them setting up shop around New Zealand, they certainly had no interest in talking to One News about their future plans.
So, as we say, oh yeah, see, fighting the bullshit since 2021.
What a crock of shit.
But that's the thing, I am completely for a way to help cost of living go down. I'm completely for breaking the duopoly. If they don't do it correctly, it possibly could entrench the duopoly. So as we always say, and sorry to be a bore, but those details, them's what the devil has as they go through the express checkout, making sure that they're not ringing up their macadamia nuts as peanuts. I think I'm lost.
A fucking stroke there, mate?
I think I've got lost in the analogy. I'll just throw it to you now. What, Chewie?
The fact that this is a nonsense piece of legislation. I saw the news. Again, Nicola Willis making a huge announcement about supermarkets and methods to bring down the cost of groceries for all New Zealanders. Tune in at 2. And I said at that point, the only way that would accomplish what she's saying, bringing down groceries for everyday New Zealanders, is if it was, we are going to break up the duopoly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that would have done it. Costco has one store in our biggest city. It is not going to help us down here in Dunedin. It's not good. South Island, who gives a fuck? Costco has a GDP bigger than our whole country. Like, we are a rounding error on their P&L sheets.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. It always speaks to me that when the government's like this, is talking specifically about one operator. It is unseemly. It seems like a really bad move to be talking about that. Why not just go, hey, look, we're going to make it easier for other supermarket operators to operate in New Zealand. Just leave it open. Why comment about Costco at all? It seems like there's some shonky backroom deal that's specifically targeted at someone else.
Chewie, don't make me say, but what about for her? Because that might have come from the reporters. She might not have offered it. But I hear you.
Yeah,
but
maybe. There's the other aspect of it. And look, I'm going to put up 2 examples that I know of, and I'm sure there are people elsewhere in the country that can bring up other examples of land banking by the 2 major operators.
To stop the other one getting in, eh? Yeah.
Here is a suburb that I used to live in, Johnsonville up in Wellington.
Johnsonville.
There is the Johnsonville Shopping Centre, which has a Woolworths in it, just here.
Gotcha.
This is also a Woolworths.
Yeah.
241 metres apart.
Right.
Here we are here in Dunedin. Share that tab. Not
the porn one. Don't do the porn one.
No, that's for after the show.
We'll get demonetized. That's for BHN After Dark.
Yeah.
Patrons only. Sorry, we're on food porn, not porn.
Here is a Woolworths here.
Yep.
And then almost 700 metres up the road, there's another one here that is old and run down, but it's still there.
Yeah, that's up by Anderson Bays Road. But what's even more interesting than that is there is a New World in North Dunedin, a New World in Central Dunedin, and a New World in South Dunedin. So there are 3 in the space of probably, 2.5 Ks, maybe 3 Ks?
So we have a market, if we're trying to attract new players, we have a market that is saturated.
Yeah.
We have a landscape where suitable places for a supermarket probably has a supermarket on there already, purely for the benefit of we don't want someone else to have a supermarket there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's no action being done about that. We have had examples here in New Zealand of a huge unhelpful monopoly in our telecommunications space, and that was identified by the Commerce Commission. They said it makes no sense to have Telecom owning the broadband infrastructure and everybody has to go and buy the broadband off their biggest competitor. It's stupid. So we're breaking it up. We've done that before. And I think when we're talking about the Commerce Commission, they are to blame for this as well. We had more grocery operators in the past and they merged, and the Commerce Commission said, this is fine. Yep, that mergers and acquisitions, all fine. And this is how we've ended up with it. I guarantee you there are people out there that do not know that Pack and Save is just the budget version of New World, and New World is just the fancy version of Pack and Save.
Yeah.
That Woolworths and Fresh Choice are the same place. Yeah. You know, it's the pretending that there's more consumer choice out there. These guys are making money hand over fist because of the power that they have over their suppliers. And in at least one case of the duopoly, it's a foreign-owned business that's sending its super profits overseas. So again, when we talk about an overseas operator coming in, we're just finding another way for us to give money to a company to send it overseas. Why is... I want to see Night and Day do it. I want to see the Warehouse do it. I want fucking iwi to decide that they want to get in on this.
So then there's a payoff, yeah? So, and it doesn't have to be a binary. It can be anywhere on the spectrum. But if profits went offshore, but it made cost of living a lot better, would that be an okay trade-off? You know, so if it brought things down. Also, the things like Night and Day, and I mean, you can put Foursquare in there. Foursquares are pretty big these days. In the old days, in my day, Mangawhai Head's Foursquare was teeny. It was 2 aisles, and it was basically a glorified dairy. They're supermarkets now, but Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. It jumped. Oh, that's right. Night and days in particular. They are basically dairies. They can't compete. They won't compete. They face exactly the same problem as a brand new company coming in. They would need to spend tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on infrastructure because they're not big enough. I mean, if you're going to compete against Pack and Save or against Woolworths and New World, you know, how many items do those stores hold? 10,000?
Yeah.
Something. Night and Day can't do that as it is right now. So they still have the barrier of entry of infrastructure. The warehouse does not.
And I mean, when I talk about breaking up the duopoly as well, nobody knows what that looks like. It's a completely different thing to say something like telecom. We're going to split you into Chorus and Spark. It's a completely different thing to go to Woolworths, foodstuffs or whatever, and go, okay, so we're breaking you up. We need you to give up half of the locations. You know, we've got these, we're bringing a competitor in and they're going to buy half of your locations somehow. You know, how does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Night and Day would have to go out and start buying up.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same barrier. Unless, of course, Night and Day bought, let's say, Fresh Choice. Then they could have the Fresh Choice infrastructure, but it's still the same barrier. And I'll say it for a third time. The only one at the moment in this country who doesn't seem to have that barrier is the warehouse. And I don't know what it's like around the country. I saw a few chats go past. Warehouse South Dunedin, there used to be 2 warehouses in Dunedin. Now there's only one. So the Warehouse Dunedin, they have a grocery section. I don't know whether that's a test case. We get our eggs from there because they're the best priced eggs, although eggs have done that kind of turnaround. I don't know whether that's a test case to see how it actually goes. It's not enough to be a shop. It's not enough items. And I think I just started an item. Was it Tane? When I asked how many items a supermarket says, I think Tane, and I'm assuming he's saying supermarket has 100,000 items.
Yeah, I can believe that.
That's unbelievable. Well, it is believable. It's unreal. It's rather than unbelievable. So maybe it's a test case. I don't know. But the problem we're always going to face is the size of our economy. Because for a group like Costco or whatever, the ones that are Alders in the UK or whatever, they look, do we want to drive $500 million into the New Zealand economy and get a 0.0001% return over the first 20 years? Or do we want to just keep driving things into our big countries where we get a much better return? It's just, this regulation thing is horseshit. It's bullshit. It's not the case. It's because, as I said, if we were the most profitable country in the world, they'd be kicking down the doors to be here. It's purely based on profits.
Yeah. And I think while we're apportioning blame out here, look, Labour's attempt to solve this was to appoint a supermarket czar who was going to be very, very scary and promise to clamp down and fine their supermarkets for super profits, and absolutely nothing happened. You know, they put prices down after the COVID lockdowns for a little bit. They highlighted some specials and then they went back to business and they're still doing super profits and that sort of thing. So, like, the government's going to wield a hammer or it's not. And it's very clear that this government doesn't give a shit. And I think this is going to be just another damp squib from Nicola Willis, who's made an announcement about an announcement. She's going to step away from it and say job done and nothing's going to happen.